The Lakers officially introduced J.J. Redick as their next head coach, the 29th in franchise history, and there is a lot to talk about from what J.J. Redick said for his expectations for the Los Angeles Lakers and some of his unfiltered opinions about his approach, which I really loved. What's good, y'all, and welcome to another Lakers Digest video. I'm your host, Okechi Apakama, and before we get into everything we have for you for today's video, guys, I want to bring your attention to something. There is 70% of you guys who have recently watched our videos who are not yet subscribed to the channel just yet, and if you guys want those Laker updates, especially with the draft coming here in the next couple of days, you guys want to make sure you guys are subscribed to Lakers Digest so you guys do not miss any of those updates. Now, let's hop straight into the topics we have for you today because it was a big one. We had that introductory press conference for J.J. Redick, and we are going to talk about J.J. Redick talks about his expectations for the Lakers. So, as Laker fans, we hold our team to a very high standard, and that was set because of a long precedent from Dr. Jerry Buss of those winning ways, those championship ways. The Lakers will bring that excellent season in and season out. Now, obviously, the Lakers did not finish where they needed to, and that's why in comes a new coach, J.J. Redick. And then he set the standard early in that press conference, talking about his expectations for the Lakers and the team. And so this is what he said. So he said, sitting in the seat, I know what the expectations are. Laker fans have some of the most passionate fans around the world, and the expectation is a championship. That's what I signed up for. I love that J.J. Redick said that right off the bat. That was one of the first things he said in his intro press conference because he knows that more than anybody else, especially being in that media landscape, that this Laker job is not easy, and it's not for the weak. And that is another thing that I truly found encouraging from J.J. Redick is he wants this job. And a lot of people were talking about, oh, maybe he should try, going to Charlotte, or, maybe he should try going to the Detroit Pistons. Like, no. He wanted this job because it was the Lakers and what he could do with this job. So, for a person who was willing to take this challenge makes me really excited because a lot of people might want to shy away from this type of challenge, especially when it's your first head coaching gig. But J.J. Redick has that type of confidence, and I know he's got that basketball smarts and IQ and also just that meticulous work ethic that he had as a player, and he's probably going to put that into his coaching. This is the type of guy that he's probably going to be up 3 or 4 a.m. in the morning drawing up plays or drawing up things that the Lakers could do offensively, and that is the type of guy that this Laker team should want to have. A guy who is just an absolute sicko when it comes to the X's and O's and doing these things that are very due diligent and very necessary when it comes to becoming a championship caliber team. And then he talked about things about like loving the work and loving the process, and I think that is also very important when it comes to building camaraderie and trying to build a team culture there as what he's trying to do, especially from scratch, because he's got nothing to work with right now. There has been no assistant coaches announced just yet. So J.J. Redick and Pelinka are trying to build the staff up and also build this culture up for what they want, what they envision Laker basketball to be. So he talked about a lot of good things about being collaborative and being open, and then how also Rob Pelinka noted that guys like Anthony Davis is heavily involved in this process. So it was very important to me to see that J.J. Redick already has that constant communication with some of the players, not only with LeBron James, obviously, on the podcast, but with Anthony Davis and some of the players like Austin Reaves and Rui Hachimura he talked to as well. So that's a very encouraging sign to see. And then just some other things that he said here during the presser. And then so he talked about the game is evolving, and one of the things you have to do as a coach is be adaptable. That's one of the things I strive to be. Oh, that is music to my ears, hearing stuff like that. Being willing to adapt, because we do know some people who was been in that coaching chair before haven't really adapted, or they're so set in their ways of what they want to run and what they want to do, they don't realize the full potential of their team. And this is kind of what J.J. Redick is hinting at and getting at, as he wants to be a guy to, whatever the roster is or whoever is on the roster, to maximize these players and use them to their best ability. And to do that, you have to be adaptable. You can't be set in a certain way of just like, oh, this is the one way we can do this, and this is the only way we can do this. This cannot be the way, because for a guy like J.J Redick, who has been learning, especially just at the forefront, if he's not at that coaching seat, he's been just right next to it, just being in these rooms, talking to all these coaches through his podcasts, or whether it's being the ESPN guy, and they always conversating with the coaches beforehand. So he's been getting some of this first-hand experience without being in the coaching chair, and that is a big reason why a guy like Rob Pelinka was drawn to him, because he also talked about having how J.J Redick has a lot of NBA experience, not necessarily coaching experience, but NBA experience, which is very vital in this job. And then some of the other things that Redick was saying, so this I thought was very important, and Redick was asked if the championship expectations are reasonable in the short term, and he said yes. And he also added that the roster is not that far off from being a championship contender. So that is a very big note, because a lot of people thinking that the Lakers may have to blow it up or do something else. LeBron is going to turn 40. Anthony Davis isn't always the healthiest superstar, but J.J Redick believes this team is not that far off from being a championship contender. And who's to say that he is wrong to believe that? Because this team just, not only 2 seasons ago, went all the way to the Western Conference Finals, and that was off the back of just having a midseason trade and not having the guys really together. This is just off the backs of how well that team played in that spurt, and then also LeBron James and Anthony Davis's dominance. So if you couple that in to come into next year, and then whatever moves they make to really shore up this roster, whatever young guys they bring in, or veterans they bring in, it's all going to be built around LeBron James and Anthony Davis. And then just he talked a little bit about how Anthony Davis could also serve as a hub in the offense. So you can start to see that transition of what the Lakers are trying to do, trying to move from a LeBron James team to a little bit of an Anthony Davis team. And then J.J Redick sees that right now, which is very vital and key, because we don't know how many years LeBron James has left as an elite basketball player. So it is very important for the Lakers to really start the groundwork now and really build around Anthony Davis and really build that team up to where it needs to be, and to be in that championship caliber conversation that Redick and Pelinka want to strive to get to. So obviously, it depends on what type of moves the Lakers make here in the next coming days, actually, because with the draft coming in the next few days, we'll have a little bit of a more knowledge of what the Laker roster will be, and then obviously free agency that starts this weekend, we'll get a better sense of what players will be on that Laker roster. So this kind of leads me to my next point about what I really found refreshing and great is Redick's had an unfiltered approach. So J.J Redick had something very interesting to say, because people were asking him, as he's a guy, especially when he was doing his podcast, was a dude who's very chronically online. He'll see those hate comments. He'll see those people talking out of the side of their neck, saying whatever they can about basketball, and then just being ready to dispel them on his podcast or in any other form, whether it was on ESPN, on First Take, or something like that in that media landscape. But as a coach, so he was asked about that. It's like, what do you think about some of the expectations, or how you're going to be viewed? And this is what J.J Redick said, which I thought was very refreshing. So he said, "I really don't give a F. Honestly, I want to be the Lakers coach. I want to coach this team. I don't want to spill anything. I want to be a great coach in the NBA. I want to win championships. I want the players to maximize to their careers. That's all I care about." So that is very refreshing for me to see, because a guy just dropping 2 F-bombs in his first introductory press conference is wild to see, but just also in the fodder of Laker history, as he's definitely was a guy who was ready for this interview, obviously being in that media landscape and knowing how to answer certain questions about certain things. They talked a little bit about how the Dan Hurley offer didn't really bruise his ego, which I really thought was very insightful. And then also talked about some of the players and using them differently. So he talked about guys like Rui Hachimura and how he wanted him to be a great offensive rebounder, and then for him to take more three-point shots, because we know Hachimura's a guy that loves to live in the mid-range. And he also talked about some of the young guys and how they can play into growing into what they want Laker basketball to be. So some of the guys they named, Hachimura, Austin Reaves, Jalen Hood-Schifino, Maxwell Lewis, all of these young guys, they want to build a foundation into something that they envision of what could be great Lakers basketball. Now, obviously, in practicality, we don't know what that looks like. We probably won't get an idea or a sense up until Summer League. And then Redick was also asked about that in the presser as well. And then he said that the door is open for him to coach Summer League. But obviously, some things have to come into play. And that's what I'm thinking. That's what's the whole roster issue that's going to be a big burden, especially during that first part of July there, because I believe that's a Sacramento Classic that they do up there in the Bay. That's going to be there for a couple of days before they go on to the Summer League in Vegas. So it is nice to see that Redick is willing to get out there and just start putting rubber to the road there. So for him to get out there and get that experience, so we can finally see what J.J. Redick as a coach looks like. But as far as some of the things that he has, we know he's got the basketball IQ. We know he's got the smarts. But a thing that really resonated with me is what Pelinka said about him being a strong communicator. And I think this is what a lot of people are missing here about J.J. Redick. And they keep talking, they're laughing about the fact that this guy is a podcaster. But this guy is a podcaster that was also able to get all these different NBA players to open up about not only what the things they're doing on the basketball court, but some of the things they're doing off the basketball court as well. And that can be very personal and very intimate in some of these situations. So for a guy like Redick to really connect with these players on that level shows the type of compassion and human empathy he has up there. And that is a very important thing to have as an NBA head coach. You can't just be a guy that draws up plays and tells somebody to run it. You have to get somebody to believe in you. And that is what Redick was doing at that first press conference. That's why I thought he really crushed it in that first part, which I really don't see him not crushing that part. It's just once we get to the coaching and those different decisions that he has to make, what is he going to do then? And he seemed very excited about that whole prospect. Because not only was today his birthday, because that is a crazy birthday gift to get, like congratulations, you turned 40, now you're the head coach of the Lakers, but that's what J.J. Redick got. But let us know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you think that J.J. Redick, this was the right hire, the right move, and what did you think about his first introductory press conference and some of the things that he said to be the next Lakers head coach? And do you think that some of the things that he was talking about, could they translate to winning basketball and winning ways for the Los Angeles Lakers? Let us know what you guys think in the comments down below. I have been your host, Okechi Apakama, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.